5. So then I'm printing x. So what will happen? Initially we assign value x equal to, because these both variables are same, right? So initially it will take value 20 and then assign to that variable. Then later, okay, then the 25 will be assigned to x. When you print that, you will get only 25. Let's see that. See, 25. Okay. So the you have to be aware of it. There is two type of variables: dynamic typing, then static typing. So I will explain it now. So if suppose if you use print statement here, print of x. So what will happen? Anyone have an idea? So first, I'm using a print statement. So we are, we are using a reading, learning Python. So what will happen when you write a program? So Python will, read a program line by line. Interpreter will execute program line by line. So when hits line number 2, so we haven't assigned any value for that variable, right? So it will throw error, value error. So let me run that. See, name error, sorry. It will throw error. So before that, you have to assign something. So x equal to either string type or floating type, anything. So what is the initial step of that your program? You have to declare or define that variable. So how do you define or assign variable? So you have to assign value for that variable. So for example, if you define x, okay, then when you run, even though it will throw error, name error, because x is not defined. So what you have to do, x equal to, for example, roses or whatever. So it will print, first time it will print roses, and then it will move on to, interpreter will move on to line number 3. So what will happen? We have used 2 x's, and then we assign first initially 20 and then 25. So what it will take? It will take the latest one. So it will take 25. So the 25 will be assigned to that variable x. So then you will get 25 is printed here. Let's run this. Okay, the roses, because we passed that print statement here, so roses is printed. Then some other assignment statement are there. So the latest latest value will be assigned to that variable. So that, and then line number 5, so print statement. So the value of x will be printed. Okay, so if you assign this, take out this. Then if you assign this, what will happen? So even though 25 will be printed. Okay, so whatever you're assigning, then later finally after some part or period of time, if you assign that variable, that way that value will be counted whenever you calculate. Okay, now see, you can do one more thing. A equal to x plus 5, x plus 5. So let me change here, and then I'm printing. No, I'm calculate. Okay, now you print it. What will happen? So after line number 4, so it will assign. Okay, when interpreter comes line number 3, so it will find that value. So which value will be assigned to x? 25. See, rows is ignored, and then 20 is also ignored. So the x equal to 25. So when interpreter moves on to the next line, a, so variable a equal to some other calculation, some other expressions are there. So what is that? X plus 25. So what is the value of x? So the current value of x equal to 25. So 25 plus 25 equal to 30. It will be printed here. Oh, what happened? Oh, you are printing x. So if you print a, then that will be different. Okay. Now I have to change x. X. So what will happen? Any idea? Any guesses? Error, name error. Because why it is okay? No. You cannot assign this way. Okay. A equal to x plus y. Sorry guys. Print of a then x. So a will be 30 and then x will be no. This is not valid. Okay. Then 30 and 25. So here what is a dynamic type? Okay, dynamic type means once, initially you are assigning that variable into different type. Here, we assign that value as an integer type, right? After print statement, later you are assigning x equal to roses. Roses. So what will happen? Whenever you calculate after 10 lines of code, you are calling this variable x. So what will happen? So it will take that latest one. So it is a string type. So with you can change that type of that data. So type of the data means here it is a integer type. So later you can change that variable as a string type. So this kind of changes, the programmer have to, be very careful. Suppose, later means after 5-6 lines of code after, maybe you are calculating, x divided by 2. Up to here, you can do that, right? So for example, c equal to x divided by 2. So you can do that. So if you print c, what will happen? Print c. So what will happen? So what is the value of current value of x is 25. 25 divided by 2, you will get a certain values, right? So after period of time, if you change the type of the data, you cannot do some other calculations. So these kind of thing is called a dynamic type. So in verbally, if I say that dynamic type, a variable is pointing to a value in certain type. Let me take here. So a variable is pointing to a value of certain time can be made to the point to the value or object, different type is called a dynamic type. So, initially you are using integer type and then later you can change it to integer to string or integer to floating or vice versa. So that kind of variable is called a dynamic typing. Okay, so in a static type, you have to initially fix that. Okay, if this value variable should be integer type. Later, you cannot change it. So how we can apply into our program? So I will explain now. Okay, let me print the statement. What will happen? So whenever the interpreter goes to line number 10, so the variable x is assigned as a string type, right? So let me print type of x string. See here, if you print print type of x equal to string. Okay, and one more thing, print x. What will happen first? It will take that, assign that value x equal to 25. So we are printing that, then and we are calculating type of that value. So that class is integer. Next, we have calculated something c equal to whatever x divided by 2. Then we are printing it, print x. So again, x equal to 25. Now we changed x equal to within double quotes. So if it is a string type, you have to write either single quote or double quote. So we assign that value roses to variable x. So now if we print type of that variable, so it will change it to string. So that's what dynamic typing variable pointing to a value of certain type then can be made to point a value in a different type is called dynamic type. A static type means you cannot change that value once you fixed that data type. attached with a variable when it is defined first and it is fixed. The data type variable cannot be changed anywhere in your program. So for example, PyCharm. So if you declare here x equal to, directly you cannot do that. Input of, okay, integer of input of something. Enter value or whatever. I will explain how to use input statement. Okay, now let me change everything. Print of x. Enter value. Value. Okay. Okay, so here I have written 2 lines of code. So first one, what I have written, I'm getting values from the user. So which means I have to use that function input. What is the syntax of input of that's it. This is the syntax of input function. So what it does mean, when you run that program, so in a running time, you can give the value of that particular variable. So right now we are not doing anything, just assigning a value into that variable. You don't know that value, right? So you are, because we are using a input function. When you run that piece of code, so it will ask you to enter that value. So why I'm writing here enter value, it is it is like a label. So if you don't write it, 1 second, if you just simply pass that parameter within bracket, nothing, once you run that, you don't know what is going on. So here, can you see that here nothing is there, even though the cursor will not place there. So intentionally I pressed here, that is why the cursor is blinking. So for example, if let me run again, see, that's all. So you don't know what you have to do, right? So make a practice. Whenever you access input from user, you have to use some label name, enter value here or whatever. So whenever you run that, you know that after running, okay, I have to enter value. So here I declared this variable as an integer type. So let me run, intentionally I'm writing this. So what I will get a error, type error. So, value error. So invalid literal for integer with a base of 10, because we declared this input should be integer. So if you don't, define here that variable is integer or not, basically the input function, what it will do, it will accept the value whatever you enter, either number or character or a special sign or anything. It will treat as a string type. Okay, let me 1 second. Print type of x. Okay, first we are getting, let me run this. We are going to enter value. I am entering a value. Okay, so this and that a, and then let me, I'm hitting enter. What will happen? Entered value, because I haven't passed that parameter. So click, sorry, comma, then whatever the value I want to print. So you have to pass the parameter. Parameter is value x. So now if you run the program, car, so entered value is car, and then class is string type. Okay, let me enter a number type. Okay, now I am going to enter a floating number. So what will happen? So it will accept and then it will print that value, but whatever you are entering, that prints input statement will take as a string type. Okay, so for example, if I enter some special character, dot colon or anything, so it will accept that value, then it's take as a string type. Okay, so for the function input, default data type is a string type. So let's move on to little bit backwards. So I told you whenever you define that variable as a dynamic type, it's a programmer's responsible, for each and every line, because sometimes you may calculate with a some expression, multiplication or any divisions, any arithmetic operations you cannot do with a string type, right? So initially how you define a different way, then string type, then later if you assign as a integer type or floating type, and then after some point of time if you are multiplying or vice versa. Okay, let me show here, then only you will understand. X equal to 10. Okay, then I'm calculating sum equal to 23 plus whatever, then print sum. Then I'm going to use x equal to red or whatever, then test equal to x divided by 2, divided by 2. So then I'm using a print of test. What will happen? Definitely you will get an error, because you are using string type. So dynamically you change the data type, but programmers has to know, okay, in between here x equal to red, and then you are calculating any loop or anything, definitely you will humans make a mistake, right? So you keep on you will forget, and then when initially that x equal to 10, when you calculate a test equal to x divided by 2, you will get error. Oh, this is a case sensitive, right? Test. Then when you run, I will get error, because type error, unsupported type error, because we defined as a what is that, a string type. String type you cannot use arithmetic operations. You can concatenate two strings, but suppression, multiplication, division, exponent, and those kind of things we cannot do with a string type data. Okay, so let's move on to simple input output. I have explained that. Okay, let me show you. Okay, number type. Okay, let me write uh, getting input from user. So that inputs are number type. Then you can add it. So for example, age, your age equal to, what is the syntax? So just give me a syntax. So I'm not assigning here, I'm going to get values from the user. User means we, okay, whenever whoever run that program, that is a user. So my question is, get input from user. So in your question paper you will see that many places, get input, get data from user. So immediately what you have to think, so you have to use that function, which is which function, input of something, right? So enter your age. Then I'm giving, for nice purpose, I'm giving some colon or something. Then I'm using print of age plus 3. So what will happen? Anyone? Okay, if I run that, so I'm giving 15, and then by hit, will you get answer or not? Anyone? If I hit enter, and then what will happen? Any error or any values I will get? Neelraj, you are you have started writing big programs, so you have to answer this at this point. Yeah, what is the answer? If I hit enter, what will happen? Anyone?
Ma'am, depends upon user input, ma'am. You have to define
Come
as
on,
float.
listen. I already entered value for age
I,
15. So then I'm going to press enter. Then what will happen?
ma'am, now it will come, ma'am.
Huh?
It will answer as 18, ma'am.
18. Why? It is a error. Why it is a error? Because we haven't any specific explicitly specify that age is not an integer. So if you don't specify anything explicitly, this particular input treat as an integer, the string type. That's what I'm taking few minutes since I started. The input function by default, it will treat as the data as a string type. Okay, so you cannot add arithmetic operations, you cannot do anything. So you have to mention that integer of this, then you will get the answer. Okay, so now if I hit here 15, then you will get 18. Okay, there is a difference. You understand that if you use input function, by default the data type is string type. So if if you want to make it as okay, it's floating type, you can declare here. For example, I'm entering value 23.56. So definitely I will face error, type error or value error, right? So because here our declaration, we are defined that variable as a integer type. You cannot mention, you cannot pass that value as a floating or string type or complex type. This is a static variable type. This age is a static type variable, which means you cannot change that values. Okay, for example, if you don't pass that integer, you don't declare that type, you can do anything. So let me run this. For example, I am using rows. So what will happen? Rows plus 3 will be printed. Okay, even though rows is not accepted. Okay, sorry. 23, then it, oh, sorry guys, it is a string type, right? So I cannot use a concatenation or any add or anything. Okay, so 23, then it will accept it because a default type is a string type. Okay, so if you want to calculate anything using that variable, so explicitly you have to declare or define that integer or float or whatever. You can do that now. Plus 3 or into 2, anything you can do that. This is a integer type, so it will be multiplied by 468. Okay, this is the input function. So far you okay, right? So okay, get two get two inputs from the user, and then you have to add it. So what will how we can write it? So age is something, and then a number, any number equal to integer type, integer of input of we don't need to give label, then define C equal to, you are adding age plus number, then you are printing that C. Okay, so this is this is how you can add two numbers. For example, I'm passing that assigning by variable. How I assign here? Getting input from user with that which should be integer type, and then same way I am assigning variable, that variable value should be an integer type. Then I am using some calculations, C equal to age plus number. Suppose if you do C equal to nothing, so it will throw error because C is not defined. So whenever the variable is active or valid, you have to assign that value. So how do you assign that value? Okay, you can take that variable, and then you can do some other calculations here. Age minus number. Okay, you can do that. Let's print it. Okay, your age is 20, and then because we haven't given any label for a number, right? So that is why cursor was let's stop it. I move my cursor. 20, I'm hitting enter here, so cursor moves to new line, right? So I have to enter 10 or whatever. I will get 10. Result will be 10. Okay. Okay, if by default, okay, one more thing I have to tell you, print number. So if you are using a two print statement, what will happen? So the resultant value will move on to next line. So why is that? At the end of the print statement, that will, new space backslash n will be added. Okay, so not externally, internally the new space will be after number. New space, white space will be added. So the new line will be added. So that is why the second statement will be print on the next line. So let's run this. Enter your age is 20, and then you have to enter value for a input number. So 30, we haven't calculated, we haven't print anything, right? So it print number, and then it moves on to next line. So next line we have printing C. So yeah, interpreter find what is this value for C, it will print it here. Okay, next thing, you want to print number after number, you want to print C. So what you have to do, end with, end equal to any blank spaces. So if you give that, you are what you are doing it. So take out that new space character, and then you are using a end with white space, single white space. So after that, the C will be printed. So let's move on. Age equal to 10. Then I don't want to do that now. Okay. See here. So this number is printed, and then it will end with that line, and the physical line will be end with a small blank space, and then this print statement, the print C will be printed here. Okay, so one more example, let me explain. I want to end this line with a dollar sign, and then next statement will be printed here beside number. So what you have to do, use this keyword end parameter. Within that single quote, either single quote or double quote, you can use anything, either single slash or underscore, or whatever sign you want to do. Maybe one anything you can pass within quotes, that will be printed here, and then the next print statement will be print. Okay, let's move on. 12, then 12. So can you see that? So 1 is printed here. Okay, you cannot do that, or hash sign. Okay, let's move on here. What is that? 10, 12. Can you see that? Hash sign is there. So if you enter 1, there is a numbers, there will be some calculations. It will take out actual value, and then it will print according to the ASCII code or something. So internal calculations will be printed. So you can use any underscore or plus sign or whatever. So it will be printed accordingly. Okay, then can you see that? Here we use underscore, then there is a minus sign. Why it is a minus sign? Because number value, age is bigger, right? Age is lesser 1231. So we are subtracting with a number. So number is a bigger one. Bigger one means 2314. So we get a negative number. Okay. So age is less number. Maybe you imagine 10, and then this one is 30. So 10 minus 30, what you will get? You will get minus 20, right? So the same calculation appeared here, and then you get minus negative number. So this is equal to C. So if it is confusing, then I will take it out, and then I can do something else. Number age. Okay. I will enter second value. 20, and then enter 30. What will happen? So it will print number. What is a number? Second value, right? So it will print 30, and then put some underscore, and then it will print first value 20. So if I hit enter here, 30 underscore 20. Okay, that is the function, end function. Okay, nice. You okay, right, so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then let's
Okay, ma'am.
see. Okay, type error and then value error. We have seen type error, value error. So when you get value error, so for example, if you are if you are using an integer type, suppose if you are printing, okay, print, what is that, age, then you are you are passing that value as a string type, so you will get value error, right? See, value error, because we have defined that variable in a different data type. When you pass that value on a different data type, means you will get value error. So what is a type error? I showed you type error, right? Nice. No, did I show you or not? Type error, I think I showed you. Name error. Okay, when you get name error, for example, you are not defining y, and then but when you run that program, you will get name error, because a name is not defined. Any variable is not defined, you will get name error. Okay, so let's try with a type error. Da, 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 da. Here, float of age. It will convert. I believe it will convert into float error. Da, 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 da. Okay, no, nothing. String type. Okay. Str. Then it is calculated. Nothing happens. Okay. So that will be a error message, which is called the type error. Right now I couldn't recollect. Okay. Yes. Yes, I got it. Okay. Age. Okay. Sum equal to rows. Name equal to rows or sum equal to rows, whatever. Then I'm using print statement, print name plus 1 plus 5. So when I hit this place, when interpreter hit this line number 8, it will get print error, type error, because we are passing that value as a string type, and then we are using some calculation. So type mismatching, the string with any arithmetic operation, any calculation won't accept a Python interpreter. It will throw error as a type error. Let me run this. See, type error. So it can concatenate string with a two string, not a string with integer or whatever. Okay, so we can do one more thing here. Name and then style or whatever. Okay, yes, equal to red. Color equal to red. Okay, so color equal to red. Then we can do that color. So what will happen? So rows and red. Okay. So string type you can concatenate, but a string with integer type, when you add or multiplication or any calculation, it will throw the type error. Okay. So same way, you can number with other way around, number with you are calculating with a string. So that time also you will get type error. So far we have learned 3 errors: name error, type error, and then value error. Okay, you got it. So how do you assign a data in a runtime? Means what you will do? Anyone? Guys, I think you guys are sleeping. Oh, when I'm asking you to enter a data means value, right? So enter a data in a runtime. Runtime means the program is, when you execute that program, so at that time you are passing that value, you are assigning that value for particular type. So how do you do that? Which means you have to use input function. Okay, so let's You understand, right? At least anyone can reply. Sanjay, you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Ramita, what about you?
Ma'am,
Can you understand? How do you feel that? So
yes,
assigning values and then how to use input function, how to print.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. What is the yes? Yes means what?
I can understand it.
Okay, okay. Let's move on to print statement. Output statement. Input statement we have seen, when you define without, specifying the type of the data. So by default, input statement, it will, treat that value as a string type. So if explicitly, if you want to define, you can define. So next to move on to output statement. So output statement means, which is the output statement? So input statement, you can use input function. This is the syntax. So output statement means that is a print statement, print function. So this is the output function. So it will display the values or display any messages within double quotes, any messages on the output screen, right? So the input function is a input state. Sorry, input statement. We can use input function. Oh my god. So the output, function is a print statement. Okay. So if you want to print any values, okay, without defining any value. So how do you print that, any message or anything? So I am not calculating anything. I am not, assigning anything. So I have to print some messages. So how do you do that? Using a print function within double quote, welcome, welcome to Python world. So, if you want to print any messages, simply nothing, and you don't need to assign, you don't need to calculate anything. So use print function within double quotes, whatever you are writing, that will be printed on the screen, output screen. So here is the output screen, so it will be printed. Okay. So you can write as much you can, and then yeah, if you want to include the second line, so what you have to do, put backslash and then enter. It will consider as a here. If you use double quotes here, so here whatever you are entering, it will be included. So the after, okay, let me take out this, you will understand. Welcome to Python word, JavaScript or whatever. So I'm writing in a message in 2 lines. So I want to, I don't want to write every time print or print every line started with print or. So how do you write it? You can, terminate that, in physical line. This is the physical line, the line number 4. You can use single slash, that will connect with the next line as well. Okay. So welcome Python world and then JavaScript. The entire message. Hold on, guys. Hello. Okay, let me run this code. So you will get welcome to Python world. Here there is a spaces because we have moved our cursor, right? So I have to enter like this. Come on. So now you will get welcome to Python world and then JavaScript. See, so the backslash is a connector of 2 lines in a print statement within double quotes. Okay, either double quotes or single quote. You can do that. Okay, so this one is fine, right? So using a print statement, you can calculate any values. So for example, 334 point whatever, and then multiplication, and then I'm multiplying with this. Then I'm using some variable here. A into A. So, okay, this one we will see later. What happened? It will multiply this value and then this one printed on the output screen. See, go ahead. See, it is multiplied and then displayed. Okay, so you can simply use that simple calculation. You may understand. 15 into 2. What you will get? 30, right? So, using a print statement within double quotes, that is a string type, or anything within. If you write within a double quotes, you can write anything, either number or character or special character. So, for example, here, double quotes, you can write, any special character. So, it will be printed. So suppose if you use here one more double quote, already I have showed you, right? So the string type, if you start with single quote, the compiler interpreter will check, another single quote. So okay, if finds a second quote, so it will think this string is end up to here. So after that, if you start with proper quote and then end with another quote, that is fine. Otherwise, it will throw error. So what kind of error we will get? We will get syntax error, because so it is not properly assigned or defined for the print statement. So if you want to use roses or red, when you study that string data type. So how you use that? Within double quotes, you can use. Yeah, either you can use single quote or backslash double quote. The same, same logic or same syntax will apply here when you use a print function. For example, roses or red. So I want to use apostrophe. Maybe intentionally I am using double quotes. Means I have to use backslash apostrophe double quote. Then roses or red. So what will happen? It will take out that backslash and then it will nicely print roses and then rose double quote and then row. Yes. Okay. Let's move on. See, roses are red. Simply, if you don't want to use any backslash or anything confused it, okay. Whatever the quotes are using, use another quote. Okay. So now roses are red. The same function, same logic. How do you define a string? So within double quotes, either use double double quote means inside you can use single quote. If you are using a single quote, it means you can use double quote. That is a easily you can write a quote. So if you are want to a backslash, sometimes you may forget. So think when you start writing a double quote or single quote, you have to aware of it. Okay. So let's move on to some other calculations. Okay. Now I'm going to print a different way. So I am roses. Then I want to print one more thing. So how do you print it? Another red. Then another apostrophe. Blue. So what will happen if I give this print statement? What will happen? Anyone guessing? So it will print without any spaces. It will print. Suppose if you give comma, then what will happen? So it will give you spaces, roses. After that, there is a single space, and then red after. This is the object, right? So in a print statement, we are passing a parameter, 3 different objects. So roses and red, and then blue. So if you separate with comma, what will happen in the resultant panel? It will allot one single space. See, can you see that in the result area? So roses, after roses, there is a single space. So after red, there is a single space. If you don't, use separate with a comma. So without any spaces, it will print roses, red, blue. Okay. So far, this is fine, right, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then next move on to another thing. Calculate. Okay. Now I'm assigning age equal to 20. So I want to print here. Okay, age equal to 20. The resultant panel, I want to display the double of your age is something. So how do you, I am not going to define anything here in line number 3. Just I am going to assign age equal to 20. I want to print that value. So how do you print? So double of this is something. So, if double means 20, double 20 is what? 40, right? So I want to, execute that statement, print statement, only print statement I want to display. How do you write it? Hmm? So within double quote, double double of, then I have to use comma, and then value age, then comma is, okay, double quotes or single quote is, close bracket, comma, then age equal to, okay. So when I run this query, what will happen? Double of 20 is 40. You got it? This is how, when you write a bigger program, not this calculation, you may add some values, or you may, exponent value or anything, you can do that. So, nicely, if you want to print on the screen, so you can do that. Double of age means you are calling that value. So calling that value means you have to assign that variable name. So again, I'm using some object. That object is within double quote is. Then I'm doing some calculation, age into multiplied by 2. Okay. So when you run this code, so you will get nicely double of age. Okay. Now I'm going to use input statement. Integer of input, enter value, okay, double quotes, within double quotes, enter value, not value, age, and then nicely. So what will happen if you enter 56? So it will, double of 56 equal to 122. You got it? So this is and this is how you are, you're calculating that using a print statement. Okay, guys, this one is fine, right? Okay, then one more thing we can do that. Okay, I want to print a couple of bunch of names only in print statement. I don't want to use any assign values or anything. I'm using a print statement. I want to print 3-4 names. So how do you do that? I told you in a print statement, you are using an object, 3 different objects. So then each object should be separated with, 3 dots or anything. So there is a function, okay, there is a function called, separate, then equal to, before we have seen, what we have seen, end with, right? So the end of the line, yeah, using a star or anything. So here, I'm not using a end of function in between. Okay, for example, I'm writing 3 objects. So I want to write 3 objects, any name. City, then country, COUNT or my country, then what is that? Any town, okay? So town, TOWN, town. So I'm using 3 objects here. Why it is, okay, close. Okay, when you print, it will be printed with a space, a city, and then country, and then town. Before, what we have seen, each print statement, we have written 2 print statement. First one is, hello. then second print statement, a world or something. So if you want to print hello world in a one line, what you have written, print hello, after that end equal to or any star or any blank space, you did it right. So here our question is inside any single print statement. I want to split that object. Here I have three different objects. I want to split with some special character. So how do you do that? You can use separate function equal to within thing three dots. Okay. So how you will get the result after city you will get three dots because we have passed that separate spelling wrong. Okay. So let me run this. See city, then three dots. I'm separating each object. So here city, country, town. I would call as an object. So separate each object with this special character. Okay. So the same way you can do ampersand sign or anything you can do that. Okay. City, ampersand, country, percentage or colon. So if you want to with a double slash, you can do that. So and there is a two white spaces out there. So if you are using a tab key, so I'm using a two tabs key. Let's check with that. See, can you see the difference? There is a spaces, two tabs are there. Okay. So guys, so this one is a separating that object. Okay. Use that function separate argument. If you call that, this one is the argument, separate argument. Before we have seen end argument. Okay. So let's move on to next one. Calculating, what is a body mass index? You know that body mass index, right? Calculate your height and weight, according to this person, how much weight he should be. That is a calculation. So which is called BMI. Hospitals, any insurance companies, when you take a policy, they will check your height and then weight. They will calculate a BMI. So I rejected when I was I rejected because I was not eligible because according to my height, I don't have enough weight. I was so slender at that time. So certain companies, they have policies. Especially insurance. If you are 5 feet, you have to be 50 kg or 45 kg, not less than that. So they will calculate BMI. That the expansion is body mass index. So how do you calculate body mass index? So you can easily write a program, right? So if you are calculating body mass index, so you need two variables. So which one? First one is height, then second one is okay, one question is raised on your in front of you, so you have to think. So I told you when we study inside program, so there is a program cycle, life cycle. So you have to analyze and then get a values and then write a data algorithm, and then later fifth part only you are writing a program, and then testing and then documentation. I told you, right guys? Can you remember that? Hello, anyone? Project life cycle. So how to problem solving. First you have to analyze. So now I am giving you a question that find out BMI. So BMI means body mass index. So which means you are calculating, you are selecting values for height and then assign values for weight, then you are calculating something. So you have to use two input variables. So you can assign values, or you can get it from the user. So how do you do that? So you can define a variable called height. Okay, height equal to You can define height equal to 5 feet or whatever, or you can get it from the user. Integer of, if you are writing a program, so give a variable name as a suitable way. Okay, so x, if you assign a equal to integer of, sometimes you may get confused when you write a big program. Okay, so give nice name, so then only you will understand, okay, this variable is okay, belongs to that type. Okay, so integer of input, enter your height, enter your height, then one space and then colon. And then what is the next step, guys? We have assigned a variable height. So I told you we are calculating body mass index. So if you are if it is a body mass index, means you need only two variables. First one is height and then weight. If you know height and weight, you can calculate, find out what is the BMI. So this is the scenario. So what you can do, so I'm asking you to write a program, so you know that how to assign a values or how to get input values. So first we need two values, right? So tell me, what is the next step? I, I think no one is understanding. Danisha, at least you have to answer.
Wait.
Vyabinya, what you are doing? Vyabinya. Sanjay, Shweta Lakshmi, how are you? But I couldn't hear anything. I believe you are talking. Okay, no problem. So now you are getting input or assigning input for weight. WEIGHT, weight of, guys, it's running out of time. Okay, we will resume tomorrow. So far you okay, right? Guys, how to assign values, and then how to use the input statement and an input function, then output function. Okay. What about Sanjay? Lohin?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's. Okay. I will upload a test question paper in a Google Classroom. You will write a 30 marks. I will convert into 40. Okay. No. Second, last week we haven't. You haven't written any test, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give marks according to your assignments. Do you remember that you gave me two assignments, a logical circuit and one more thing? So I'm going to evaluate that paper again, that assignment again. I'm going to enter mark according to that. Okay, guys.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, today you are going to write a